Hey, what's everybody doing? It is March 1st. Oh yeah. I got to talk about a topic which I've been hearing a lot about, and some of you have been asking me questions, and it is just a constant source of irritation for me when I hear about it, because it's coming from people who otherwise should know better. These are very, very high paid, educated Wall Street people, and they keep repeating the same thing, and it's just like, hello, wake up, like, don't you see what's going on? And I'm going to explain it, and we're going to talk about the money supply, because it's all you hear about nowadays is the money supply. Oh my God, the money supply is contracting. Oh my God, the money supply, it's never contracted so much like this before. The money supply, we're certainly going to have the money supply. The money supply is another one of these cockamamie ideas that were brought into unfortunate reality by Milton Friedman, who created this whole monetarism psychosis. But anyway, here's a picture of the money supply. Well, this is a picture of what everybody is freaking out over when it comes to the money supply. You see, like, we had this huge expansion in the money supply going into the pandemic when the Fed, not the Fed, but when the government increased spending, dramatically and in an unprecedented fashion. You could only compare it to like World War II on a percentage basis, but in nominal terms, it was easily the biggest ever. And then we had this gigantic, drainage, and so the growth has gone negative year over year by about 2%, okay, the first time ever. But if you look at the actual money supply, that's up around 22 trillion. So, I mean, not a big dip from, where it's been historically, and the trend still is kind of up. When you look at bank deposits, that's another thing. You look at bank deposits and they're freaking out. The same people on Wall Street, the same, very serious people. Oh, the deposits are freaking out. Deposits are contracting. Deposits are contracting. Well, guess what? First of all, deposits are like 17 trillion, okay? But the Fed had to create a vehicle called the reverse repo facility. I don't know if you remember that, but I talk about it just about every other video that I make. Back in 2021, it had to create this vehicle because its ridiculous quantitative easing was piling so much reserves on bank balance sheets that they were falling into non-compliance with the Fed's own regulatory mandates. The supplemental leverage ratio. So rather than just suspend the thing, which, some members of Congress were against it, no, you can't suspend it. They suspended that stupid leverage ratio during the pandemic, and it was only for a temporary period of time. And then when that time ran out, the Fed had no choice. It had to create a facility, that reverse repo facility. And so the banks and money market funds, they basically had no choice. It's not that they didn't have a choice. The Fed was paying interest on that reverse repo facility. They were just shunting the money off bank books onto the Fed's reverse repo facility, and that went up from like zero, it didn't exist, to like 2 trillion, over 2 trillion. Just recently it was like 2.5 trillion. So that's where the deposits went. Hello. Like, these are very high-placed people on Wall Street, very highly educated, went to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, all the top schools, Wharton, University of Pennsylvania. I mean, they're like, oh, we can't figure this out. What happened to the deposits? That they went to the freaking reverse repo facility. The Fed had to create that because its own cockamamie regulatory structure was putting the banks into, violation of their regulations. The same thing, this is, I gotta say, this is again Powell. I mean, this happened in 2019 when they were doing QT at the time, and some idiot was asleep at the switch, and they actually brought the level of reserves down below the mandated threshold. Like, you had to have 10% reserves to loans, right? They brought it down below that. Like, somebody was sleeping at the wheel at the New York Fed or something, or maybe they were the ones who spotted the problem and told Powell, hey, you know, we can't keep doing this because you have these regulatory constructs that, because of your policies, which are ridiculous and you know, completely non-thought out, you're putting the banks into violation of your own regulatory policies. So this is going to be a short video. This is what happened. By the way, with reserve balances, you'll see the chart. Reserve balances, even with ongoing QT, still hovering around 3 trillion. So when you add in another, you know, 2 point something trillion of reserves that are sitting in the reverse repo facility, you're still up around 5, almost 6 trillion in reserves. Like, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. But yet there is this freak out going on about what has happened, what is going on with M2, and why is it collapsing like this? I mean, come on, people. Do you understand what the type of garbage you're getting here? I can't even use the word information. That would be like that would be like blasphemous. I mean, it's not information. It's pure garbage. Pure garbage. I mean, this is right there in front. The Fed reports this freaking thing every single day. It reports this thing every single week. And I mean, was almost 2.5 trillion in this that came like out of nowhere, because the banks and money market funds is not, it was also because they had to, but because the Fed was paying high interest on it. They were enticing, the Fed was enticing the financial institutions to put the deposits there. I mean, come on. How stupid can you be? How freaking stupid can you be? This is the kind of garbage that we have out there. This is what's running policy out there. I mean, it's just like absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, that's it for today. There's nothing else to report. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.